Imagine a cancer therapy so powerful it not only shatters scientific boundaries but ignites a global race, a scramble among pharmaceutical giants, visionary scientists, and even governments to control the future of medicine. This is not a scene from a speculative science fiction blockbuster. This is today's reality. Right now, a single molecule, meticulously engineered in the quiet but cutting-edge laboratories of Taipei, Shanghai, and the San Francisco Bay Area, sits at the heart of a colossal, high-stakes deal. A deal that could fundamentally rewrite the rules of cancer treatment across Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa. The core question emerges: is this breakthrough on the verge of changing everything we know about cancer therapy, or is it another ambitious biotech gamble that could ultimately fall short? Another chapter in the long, unpredictable story of medical innovation. To understand the significance of this moment, let's step back and look at the trajectory of cancer therapy. Over the past 2 decades, oncology has witnessed a revolution. The rise of immuno-oncology, therapies designed to harness the body's own immune system to attack malignant cells, has captured the imagination of both scientists and patients alike. From the first checkpoint inhibitors to CAR T-cell therapies, hope has surged that the immune system, with the right push, could finally tip the balance in our favor against cancer. Yet, as with every frontier in medicine, each breakthrough has posed new puzzles and risks, especially when it comes to finding the right molecular targets that can be manipulated without causing devastating side effects. One of the most promising and hotly contested battlegrounds in this revolution is the CD47 pathway. Scientists have dubbed CD47 the "don't eat me" signal, a molecular badge that cancer cells display to evade the immune system. Under normal circumstances, CD47 is a protein expressed on healthy cells, telling immune cells, especially macrophages, to leave them alone. Cancer cells, ever resourceful, hijack this protective mechanism by overexpressing CD47. The result? They effectively become invisible to macrophages, the body's first responders in the detection and destruction of abnormal cells. For years, researchers have dreamed of a therapy that could strip away this molecular cloak, exposing tumors to the full force of the immune system. But as with any powerful weapon, the danger is collateral damage, unintended attacks on healthy cells and tissues, especially those of the blood. Enter HanchorBio, a rapidly ascending biotech company with strong roots across Taipei, Shanghai, and the innovation hub of the San Francisco Bay Area. Founded and led by industry veterans with deep experience in biologics discovery and global drug development, HanchorBio has made it their mission to reactivate the immune system against cancer and beyond. Their proprietary technology, the FC-based Designer Biologics Platform, or FBDB, is designed to produce unique, multifunctional molecules capable of targeting disease with unprecedented precision. At the heart of their pipeline is a flagship molecule, HCB101. HCB101 is a next-generation fusion protein, meticulously crafted to block the CD47 signal and awaken the body's macrophages. In the world of molecular medicine, its credentials are striking. According to peer-reviewed preclinical studies, HCB101's binding affinity for CD47 is 100 times greater than earlier molecules. Its signal-blocking ability surpasses previous therapies by a factor of over 1,000. In laboratory models, including more than 80 different cancer models, both cell-derived and patient-derived, this molecule has shown the potential to shrink tumors with remarkable potency. And crucially, it appears to do so with far less of the blood-related toxicity that has plagued earlier attempts to target this pathway. But before we get swept up in the excitement, it's important to remember the sobering lessons of biotech history. The path to a true cancer cure is littered with the remnants of promising molecules that failed to clear the final hurdles. Many earlier efforts to block CD47, including pioneering first-generation antibodies, ran into grave challenges, especially severe anemia and dangerous drops in blood cell counts. As Dr. Margaret Kasner from Thomas Jefferson University cautions, CD47 remains a viable target, but its mechanism of action may not need to be tied exclusively to immune system activation. A more targeted therapy approach may ultimately prove more effective. This is where HanchorBio's FBDB platform and the design of HCB101 stand out. By engineering a molecule that binds more tightly and selectively to CD47, while leveraging a modified IgG4-Fc backbone to minimize collateral immune activation, HanchorBio believes it may have found a way to sidestep the most dangerous side effects. Early-stage clinical data are starting to back up their confidence. In a global phase 1 dose escalation study, HCB101 monotherapy demonstrated a favorable safety profile, achieving high receptor occupancy at multiple dose levels. Notably, 2 patients, one with head and neck squamous cell carcinoma and another with marginal zone lymphoma, achieved confirmed partial responses, with both tumors continuing to shrink after more than 40 weeks of ongoing weekly treatment. 6 additional patients, including one with ovarian cancer, maintained stable disease for months at relatively low to moderate doses. In the realm of oncology, where every week of disease control counts, these results are nothing short of encouraging. The next chapter in this story unfolded in July of the year 2025. HanchorBio made a bold and strategic move, signing an out-licensing agreement with Shanghai-based Henlius, a biotechnology juggernaut with a proven track record in commercializing cancer drugs across mainland China and beyond. The deal's headline figures are eye-popping. HanchorBio received an upfront payment in the tens of millions of US dollars, with the potential for milestone payments totaling nearly $200 million as the molecule progresses through clinical and regulatory checkpoints. In addition, Henlius will pay tiered royalties and assume full responsibility for the development, manufacturing, and commercialization of HCB101 across Greater China, including mainland China, Hong Kong, and Macau, as well as key countries in Southeast Asia and all of North Africa and the Middle East. HanchorBio, meanwhile, retains all rights outside these territories, positioning itself for possible future global expansion. For HanchorBio, this partnership is nothing less than a springboard to the world stage. For Henlius, it is a golden opportunity to dominate some of the world's fastest-growing cancer therapy markets and add a potential blockbuster to its already robust portfolio. As Oliver Blake, a leading analyst at A-Invest, puts it, this partnership is a masterclass in leveraging complementary strengths to dominate high-potential markets. For investors, HanchorBio's upside hinges on clinical execution, while Henlius stands to gain a major growth driver in its core regions. The optimism is palpable, but so is the pressure. Both companies have staked enormous resources, reputations, and strategic ambitions on the clinical and commercial success of HCB101. But the road ahead is anything but simple. The promise of HCB101 is immense, but the path is riddled with obstacles. Regulatory landscapes in China, Southeast Asia, and North Africa are notoriously challenging to navigate. Each country brings its own set of requirements, from clinical trial design to manufacturing standards and post-approval monitoring. Gaining the trust of regulators, clinicians, and patients alike is no small feat, especially when dealing with therapies that intervene in the sophisticated and delicate machinery of the human immune system. Competition is also fierce and intensifying by the month. Dozens of biotech firms and pharmaceutical powerhouses are sprinting to develop their own CD47 targeted therapies. Some are pursuing traditional monoclonal antibodies. Others are experimenting with bispecific molecules, antibody-drug conjugates, or combination regimens that include checkpoint inhibitors and anti-angiogenesis agents. Dr. Lei Zhang of the Mayo Clinic observes, blocking the CD47 pathway can indeed supercharge cancer immunotherapy by promoting macrophage phagocytosis and T-cell activation, but careful attention must be paid to potential off-target effects. In other words, while the opportunity is vast, the risks are just as great. Let's take a closer look at why the CD47 pathway is considered such a game-changer by the oncology community. In the human body, immune checkpoints like PD-1 and CTLA-4 regulate immune responses, preventing runaway inflammation and autoimmunity. Cancer cells, however, exploit these checkpoints to evade detection. Therapies that block PD-1 or PD-L1 have transformed the treatment landscape for several cancers, but not all patients respond, and resistance often develops. The CD47 axis represents a parallel but distinct immune escape mechanism. By targeting it, researchers hope to unlock a new layer of anti-tumor immunity, potentially in patients who do not benefit from existing immunotherapies. Yet the scientific unknowns remain daunting. The CD47 protein is widely expressed on healthy cells, especially red blood cells and platelets. Early CD47 blockers, such as magrolimab, demonstrated anti-tumor activity, but were hampered by dose-limiting toxicities, most critically, severe anemia and low platelet counts. HanchorBio's approach, using the FBDB platform to engineer higher specificity and reduce toxicity, is being closely watched by clinicians worldwide. Dr. Margaret Kasner notes, its broader role in the immune system means unintended effects are always possible. Next-generation molecules with improved specificity and reduced hematologic toxicity are urgently needed. At the same time, the potential for combination therapies is generating considerable excitement and complexity. Some of the most promising strategies involve pairing CD47 inhibitors with anti-angiogenesis agents, which block the blood vessels that feed tumors, or with checkpoint inhibitors like anti-PD-1 antibodies. Dr. Jens Greiner at the University of Frankfurt posits, combination therapies that target both CD47 and angiogenesis may be more effective in treating solid tumors, as angiogenesis can limit the efficacy of CD47 blockade. However, each additional agent adds layers of complexity to clinical trial design, regulatory review, and ultimately, patient safety monitoring. For patients and their families, all of this is much more than a scientific chess game. Cancer remains one of the world's most daunting health threats. In Asia alone, the annual number of new cancer cases is expected to surpass 15 million by the end of this decade, with mortality rates climbing as populations age and lifestyles change. Access to cutting-edge therapies is often limited by cost, infrastructure, and regulatory bottlenecks. The partnership between HanchorBio and Henlius is significant not only for its scientific ambition, but also for its potential to make next-generation immunotherapies more widely available in regions where the need is greatest. Let's not overlook the broader implications for the biotech industry as a whole. The FBDB platform that underpins HanchorBio's pipeline is not limited to oncology. By enabling the design of multi-targeted biologics, it holds promise for a wide range of diseases, including autoimmune and inflammatory conditions. In fact, HanchorBio is quietly adapting the same technology now under scrutiny in cancer to develop therapies for autoimmune diseases, potentially launching a new wave of immune-modulating treatments in the coming years. This diversification could insulate the company from the all-or-nothing risks that have doomed many single-asset biotechs in the past. What about the competitive landscape? Henlius itself is no stranger to ambitious partnerships and rapid growth. Since its founding in 2010, Henlius has built an integrated biopharmaceutical platform, launching multiple products in China and securing approvals for 4 therapies in international markets. Its experience in navigating China's complex regulatory environment, combined with a strong record in manufacturing and commercialization, gives it a unique edge. The company's strategic push into immuno-oncology, including combination regimens built around its proprietary anti-PD-1 antibody, positions it as a formidable player not just regionally, but globally. The deal structure between HanchorBio and Henlius is also worth examining. The upfront payment and potentially massive milestone payouts, totaling up to nearly $200 million, reflect both the promise and the uncertainty inherent in early-stage biotech alliances. These payments are tied to a series of development, regulatory, and commercial milestones, ensuring that both sides remain invested in the molecule's success. The inclusion of tiered royalties on sales incentivizes Henlius to maximize the product's reach and commercial impact. For HanchorBio, retaining rights outside the licensed territories preserves optionality for future partnerships or direct commercialization in Europe, the Americas, or other high-growth regions. Now consider the regulatory landscape. Gaining approval for a novel biologic in China, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East-North Africa region is a marathon, not a sprint. Each market has its own clinical trial requirements, pharmacovigilance expectations, and reimbursement frameworks. In China, for example, the National Medical Products Administration has accelerated pathways for innovative therapies but maintains rigorous safety and efficacy standards. In the Middle East and North Africa, regulatory systems are evolving rapidly, with increasing alignment to international benchmarks but persistent local variations. Successfully navigating these differences will require not only scientific excellence, but also deft regulatory strategy and close collaboration with local stakeholders. Looking ahead, what are the scenarios that could unfold? If HCB101 continues to demonstrate robust safety and efficacy in Phase 2 and later stage trials, it could become a cornerstone of cancer immunotherapy across Greater China, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East and North Africa. Regulatory approval would thrust HanchorBio's designer biologics platform into the global spotlight, unlocking not just milestone payments, but also new scientific collaborations, commercial opportunities, and most importantly, hope for patients who currently have limited options. The impact could ripple far beyond these regions, catalyzing further investment and innovation across the global biotech sector. For clinicians, these developments are more than academic. The data from HanchorBio's global trials is being scrutinized by oncologists who have seen too many promising drugs falter in late-stage development. As an analyst from Global Data summarizes, CD47 targeted therapies hold immense potential, but safety and selectivity remain key challenges for clinical success. Next-generation inhibitors with improved specificity and reduced hematologic toxicity are needed to realize the full potential of this approach. Rigorous Phase 2 and 3 trials, with diverse patient populations and robust endpoints, will be essential to validate early signals and build confidence among prescribers. For patients and their families, the stakes are deeply personal. Cancer continues to exact a devastating toll, both in terms of lives lost and the emotional, physical, and financial burdens placed on individuals and healthcare systems. Advances in immunotherapy have already transformed outcomes for certain cancer types, but for many patients, especially those in Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa, access remains inconsistent. The HanchorBio-Henlius partnership could help bridge this gap, making breakthrough therapies more widely available and, potentially, more affordable. For patients, this means more options, more hope, and perhaps a longer, better quality of life. So what does all of this mean for you, the viewer, the investor, the patient, or the curious observer of the business of science? First, it's a vivid lesson in both the power and the peril of breakthrough innovation. The rapid evolution of biologic therapies underscores how advances in molecular engineering, global partnerships, and rigorous clinical validation must work hand in hand to turn promising science into real-world impact. For investors, tracking how companies like HanchorBio and Henlius navigate the maze of regulatory, scientific, and commercial challenges can offer valuable insights into the future of biotech and the volatility that accompanies high-risk, high-reward moonshots. For healthcare professionals, staying informed about emerging therapies, clinical trial availability, and new mechanisms of action is essential. The science is moving quickly, and the treatment landscape is shifting beneath our feet. For patients and families affected by cancer, the message is clear. Ask about clinical trial options, stay abreast of new developments, and advocate for access to emerging treatments. The story of HanchorBio and Henlius is a reminder that the science shaping tomorrow's medicine is being written today, often in unexpected places and through bold collaborations. As we reach the end of this deep dive, let's return to the central question. Can HanchorBio and Henlius overcome skepticism, fierce competition, and regulatory complexity to prove HCB101 truly transformative? The answer at this stage is a cautious but genuine yes. If their rigorous science continues to bear out in larger trials, and if their alliance can swiftly and skillfully navigate the labyrinth of global regulation and clinical adoption. The deal's ambitious structure, with nearly $200 million in potential milestone payments and multi-layered royalties, reflects just how much both sides are betting on HCB101's future. And here's something you might not know. HanchorBio's proprietary designer biologics platform is not limited to the CD47 pathway. Their technology is already being adapted to develop next-generation therapies for autoimmune diseases, leveraging the same principles of selective immune modulation. The next wave of immune-targeted treatments, perhaps for lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, or even rare inflammatory disorders, could emerge from this very pipeline. In many ways, HanchorBio and Henlius are not just fighting cancer. They are building the foundation for a new era of immune therapies that could change the treatment landscape for a host of serious diseases. In summary, whether you follow biotechnology for investment, innovation, inspiration, or personal reasons, the HanchorBio-Henlius partnership offers a front-row seat to the next chapter of global cancer therapy. The stakes are high, the science is groundbreaking, and the outcome is still unwritten. Stay tuned, subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the business of science, and let us know in the comments below. Is the future of cancer therapy already here, or is this just the next step on a long, uncertain road? Your perspective matters.